Hi, I'm Anthony Bilal, Project Manager for the 8th Ave GP project. I'm in charge of the overall scope and budget of the project.
Hi, Chris Charlton. I'm the Construction Manager and I'm in charge of day-to-day field operations. Welcome to 8th Ave GP.
Hi, my name is Ralph Bennetson. I am the Development Director for Arlington Street Investments, and my job is to underwrite real estate assets, establish what the highest and best use is in order to create value for the investors.
Hello, my name is Frank Lonardelli. I'm the CEO and founder of Arlington Street Investments. You are on one of our job sites. This is the 8th Avenue project, which is located at 718 8th Avenue Southwest. So you're probably wondering what we're doing on a job site. Well, the fact of the matter is, this is where your investment is. It isn't at the boardroom table. It isn't us sitting in a bunch of fancy suits and talking about flip charts and cool pictures. This is where everything starts and this is where everything finishes. So you just had the opportunity of meeting three very important people. You met our construction supervisor, our project manager, and our development director. Those three people are charged with ensuring that the original plans that we had for this development are executed. So the construction manager on site is here every single day to make sure the people in the background, the people downstairs and above us right now are doing the jobs they're supposed to be doing and executing according to the original plan, the plan that we all agreed to before we decided to build this building. The project manager is responsible for making sure that the site supervisor is doing his job and making sure that he's trending from point A to point B all the way through point Z. And of course the development director, Ralph Bennetson, that you met, is directly reporting to me to ensure that the work that is being done in concert and in line with what we all agreed to. And if there's any amendments or changes, because of course construction and project management is not a linear process. It does have some movements from left to right that we always get back on track. And at the end of the day, the assumptions we made and the promises that we committed to are actually being executed on. So welcome, and let's go take a tour through the building. So welcome. We're actually standing on the existing structure of the existing property we bought's roof. You can tell we're not on the roof, we're actually in a new structure. So this is the new construction of our 8th Avenue project. This is the third floor, there's a fourth floor on top of us. To the left of us is an elevator and an elevator shaft that we built in. And what's interesting about where we're standing right now is just behind me, you've got a storyboard. That storyboard was basically contemplated when we originally bought the property. Well, then why is that important? Well, when you buy a property and you do a redevelopment, you have to make a determination what the end result is, what the building is going to look like, what are the elements of the building, what it's going to cost. And so a lot of people get confused with that. They get into the fancy pictures and the cool drawings and what something's going to look like. We don't really do that. We do that only to the extent that we need to understand what the final project's going to look like and what it's going to cost. Because at the end of the day, this isn't a real estate project. This is an investment. And every investment has to be looked at first and foremost with the math, then and only then with the marketing. So welcome, and we're going to take a tour around and show you some of the elements of the redevelopment plan on 8th Avenue. So where are we? Geographically speaking, we are basically at the natural end of the southwest beltline in downtown Calgary. If we walked outside the building, stood on the sidewalk and looked due east, you would see a series of high-rise towers. Those towers are going to be housing the large energy companies and large service providers that service those energy companies. And those individual tenants will be paying rents somewhere between $30 to $45 a net rate per square foot. Now that's important because what we're trying to establish is boutique buildings, and those boutique buildings are going to have tenants, and those tenants are what we refer to as OMBs, or owner-managed businesses. So when you come off the elevator shaft to the left side of us, what you're going to come onto is a 5,000 square foot floor plate. Now, a 5,000 square foot floor plate is going to house between 10 and 25 staff. That would be a classic owner-managed business or a small business. That small business is going to be a business that wants to have a sign up and down the 8th Avenue corridor who's going to be servicing the clients who are sitting and working and building their businesses in those large towers. So when we think about location, 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 we think through the process. What's the asset? Where is it positioned? What can we buy it for? How can we reposition the asset to create additional value? And how do we make sure the fundamental principle is taken care of, which is how do we ensure we don't lose money? So let's talk about why we determine certain design elements. What we're looking at when we're designing certain design elements is what are the things that the average tenant will traditionally not be able to receive when he goes into a building in one of the towers. One of the things he won't be able to receive is his own floor. So this building is a boutique building. So when the tenant an owner-managed business, comes off the elevator shaft, he'll be coming onto a reception area, which will be basically opened up to his whole floor. And if you think about the condominium business, one of the most sexy aspects of living in a condo is coming in off the elevator and going onto your floor. Now that doesn't happen very often, only in the premium buildings in the downtown core. So when we talk about tenants and we're talking about entrepreneurs are looking for some uniqueness in terms of the application for the space they rent. So that's a unique element. Second unique element, if you look above you, is 16-foot ceilings. The average ceiling height in a B or a C class building in the downtown of Calgary and or Edmonton is somewhere between 9.5 and 10 feet. 16-foot ceilings over a 5,000 square foot span gives you a massive impression of volume. So when people come off the elevator, they walk in, they think, wow, this is an unbelievable space. It's got massive volume and it feels larger. And of course, when you're an owner-managed business, you want a larger space with greater volume. So it allows for a better feel and flow for your space. The other element is what we're standing on right now. And so we talk about an element called sound attenuation. Now what the heck does that mean? It sounds like a fancy word. All it means is, as a tenant, I want to be in a space where it's comfortable, it's warm, and it is quiet. I want it to be quiet, unlike right now during construction. I want it to be quiet because when I bring in my clients into my boardroom, I don't want to hear the people below me and I don't want to hear the people above me. So what tenants and what investors never think about are the things that we're responsible for thinking about. And that's thinking through the whole process. Ensuring we got the best buildings in the best location at the best price point, ensuring that we've got the right financial structure. But when we secure a tenant, that tenant is in here long term, he's got the creature comforts he's looking for, and he's paying the highest rents possible to drive the investment returns that we have for all of our projects. So here's some of the things that you probably didn't think about and or have been told by anyone else in this space, and that's just the start of the education process. So we're now on the 4th floor, and you just saw a beautiful design element we call a skylight. Why do we put the skylight in? Well, it's for a couple different reasons. One primary and one secondary. Behind us, you're going to see the curtain wall. The curtain wall is the windows that basically allow the natural light to come into the space. Now, we've got very dramatic curtain wall where basically the glazing or the windows, the glass, starts at the base of the floor and it goes to the ceiling. It's approximately 15 feet tall. Now that allows for the maximum amount of sunlight to come into the space. And when you have a rectangularly shaped space like we have on 8th Avenue, you want the greatest glazing you could possibly get to push as much light through the space as possible. The fact of the matter is that even with 16-foot glazing on the front of the facade, you're only going to get that light about 30 to 40% through the space. So we dropped this skylight. But the skylight wasn't dropped because we wanted more light. The skylight was dropped for two specific reasons. Number one, we knew that it wouldn't be the end-all and be-all for a tenant to come in, but we knew it would be an added design benefit for a tenant to walk in and say, wow, this is an incredible space. And we thought that a tenant would pay a premium for the space because of that feature. Now, the premium we thought was going to be between 15 and 20% higher than the 3rd floor, the 2nd floor, and the main floor. And we were right. So today, that $45,000 skylight will return about $115,000 in additional revenue through the increase in rate we charged from this 4th floor, comparatively speaking, to the 3rd, 2nd, and the 1st floor. So, yes, it's about beautiful pictures, great design elements, and nice marketing, but at the end of the day, if the math doesn't line up, we don't do it. So how are you doing? We're now outside of our 8th Avenue project, and this is kind of where it all starts. Now, I showed you a bunch of construction, showed you some of the elements, showed you all the things or some of the things that we think about when we're getting into a project. But one of the things you didn't see is where we are geographically. When you think about the city of Calgary basically has a downtown core and it's shaped like a circle. And then you'll probably be familiar with the term the Beltline. The Beltline is basically the square which surrounds the circle of the downtown core. In the downtown core, you're going to get Class A, AA, and AAA buildings. Those are the large towers that are 30, 40, 50, 60 floors that are going to house the large energy companies, the large accounting companies, and all the companies that service those large energy companies. And then what you find is you get closer to the downtown Beltline, which gets away from the core, is you're going to find lower-rise buildings that we would call in the tertiary market that are opportunities for assembly. So small buildings that are congruent with one another that allow for other tenants who can't afford the $40, $50, and $60 per square foot rents to be housed to service those clients who are in those large towers. So basically, as we're standing right outside of our project, what you're going to see directly across the street or to the south of us is Western Canada Place. Western Canada Place is a 30-story tower, and that tower is basically the natural end of the southwest high-rise tower between the downtown core and the Beltline. As we move right behind me, we're going west. What you're going to see is you're going to see basically two other buildings. You're going to see the Petrofina Tower, which is directly right beside us, and right beside the Petrofina Tower, which you can't see right now, is Nexon. Nexon is the last high-rise tower, and if you pan yourself up vertically, you can see that very majestic building. Of course, we all know what the political, relevance of that building and that corporation is. But that is the natural end to the southwest Beltline. Now, why is that important? Because if you come with me this way, and we walk towards the east side of the street, or we go towards the east, what we're actually seeing is the downtown core. The downtown core is where all the high-rise towers are. It's where the Class A, AA, and AAA buildings are. And the reason that's important is because if we were to go up in one of these towers and look down, you'd see this core, and this core has been completely densified, which means there's not a lot more development opportunities to be had. Of course, Penny Lane and the second 8th Avenue Tower is going in. That's 950,000 square foot platinum LEED building. And as we realize, the city is basically coming towards us. And so we've positioned ourselves as the city grows right in the path of growth. And that's what you want if you're doing redevelopments in the downtown or in the downtown Beltline of Calgary.